Hey everybody, I wanted to make a quick video about the type of channel drain I put in front of my barn a couple years ago, and this is based on a question from a viewer. So originally, when I put in this barn, it has a concrete slab floor, and then I poured the concrete apron right outside the door, and those slope down, but then it slopes back up going to my driveway. So I originally graded in a low spot, I don't know, about 6, 7 feet from the building, so that any water that came down this driveway would not get close to the structure. So I had a swale there that ran that way, and that worked fine. But what I found is over time, as I went back and forth with the tractor and my RTV getting in and out of here, gravel would migrate down, and that swale kept getting filled in, and then would get clogged with leaves, and I was always having to clean it out and regrade it. And this is all crusher run. Crusher run, when it gets packed down, it's like concrete almost. So it wasn't real easy to keep that swale clear and open and to recontour it and reshape it. So after a few years, I knew I had to do something different, and I looked into a bunch of options. My preference would have been to put in a typical channel drain, channel drain, which is some sort of a U-shaped channel. There's some are molded out of plastic, some are molded out of concrete with a grate on the top, and those are commonly used all over the place. Um, and you can get those pretty inexpensively at local home centers, but the ones they sell are very light duty. They're made out of plastic, and you look at them, and I knew right away there's no way they were going to support a tractor tire running over the top, especially if I'm grinding gravel into it and tracking that through. So when I looked at the more expensive commercial type of channel drains, um, those tend to either be much heavier molded plastic or metal for the U channel, and then they have a very heavy duty cast grate for the top. And that would have worked out very nice. They're also wider. They're clearly geared for heavier duty traffic. Um, but those would have cost about $2,000, believe it or not. And I think I'm only going about, I don't know, 32 feet across the front here. It would have cost $2,000 for those really good channel drains, and that's just ridiculous. So I started looking around doing research, and I stumbled across a document, or it's kind of a white paper from the U.S. Forest Service, where they talked about using guardrail to create water bars or channel drains in forest roads. And I'm like, well, that is a good idea. And if you look around, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about using guardrail to do this. And the more I researched it, the more I fell in love with the idea. And so then for me, it became a search to find guardrail. In certain parts of the country, there were companies that recycle guardrail, and then they resell it for channel drains, for cattle fencing, for cattle crossings. It's got all kinds of uses beyond guardrail for traffic. If you're near one of those places, you can get it fairly cheap. Um, in my research, I think I had found a guardrail recycler in Texas and then one in Southwest Virginia. None of them were close enough to me to make it financially viable to either ship or go get the guardrail. So I just kept, looking around, keeping my eyes open, and one day I happened to visit one of the local metal scrap yards here, and I was actually looking for something else, and out of the corner of my eye, I spotted the unmistakable kind of W shape of guardrail, and they had three pieces. It's usually 13 foot long, so they had three pieces. It would have given me, with overlap, about 36, 37 feet. And so I bought them. I think I paid about 27, 28 cents a pound, and all the guardrail cost me right around, I think, $120 for that whole section. Um, And so from there it was a matter of, digging it down in, and at the end of this video I'll post some of the photos of that process. But it was pretty easy. I really just had to open up that existing swale. I used the ripper shanks on my box blade on my tractor to kind of bust through the crusher run and dig down, and basically made a trench. I shaped that trench and put a slope on it so that water would drain that way, and then I just dropped the guardrail down in and packed it back in with more crusher run. And it's been here a couple of years. It's worked awesome. If I come out here in a heavy rainstorm, you can see the water, come rolling down this driveway, gets in there and goes right down that way and out the exit, out away from the building. I only clean this out about once a year. It's what I found is it really doesn't matter what you're really doing, and guardrail's not watertight. It's got bolt holes in it. There are overlaps between the sections that are clearly not watertight. So really all the guardrail is doing here is it's providing a path of least resistance for the water. It's a low spot. It's a channel in the gravel driveway that stays open, that stays much more open and clear than the old swale did. And so it's almost like the guardrail itself is not the drainage channel. It's the fact that it's holding back your gravel and forming kind of a permanent channel in the driveway here that kind of does it. So I thought this was really good topic for a video. It was inexpensive. It works great. Right now I put some boards down so I can go over this easier with the tractor. What I've been doing, I don't go to the junkyard that often, but whenever I do, I keep my eyes open for bar grading. And if I can find a piece, bar grading, it's basically a bunch of flat stock welded together in a certain pattern that you can drive over. But the bars have to be in a certain orientation to cover the needed span and hold up your vehicle, whatever it is. And so, not just any piece of bar grading will do. I've been keeping my eye out for one with the right thickness bars, the right orientation, and if I can get some of that real cheap, I'll put that down instead of the boards. But honestly, the boards work fine. You don't really even need the boards. It's just less of a bump going in and out to have something spanning that. So that's the deal with the channel drain. It's a recycled guardrail. Works great. Was not expensive. And stay tuned. There'll be some pictures of the installation after the video ends. Thanks for watching.